Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Talking Shirt, where we basically talk shirt. Today, I'm joined by Dane from the Final Third. He's wearing a beautiful, beautiful item on his upper body right now. Can you explain who you are, what you do, and honestly, just tell people what that thing is you're wearing?
Hey, it's cool. So my name's Dane Hinchy, and I run the Final Third. The Final Third is basically inspired by all things football, football kits, football designs, and I sort of take the best of those and turn them into socks. And the top I'm wearing is 1994 Borussia Dortmund sort of training or t-shirt designed by the legend Drake Ramberg.
Oh, mate. And we'll talk about Drake Rainbow because you teased the little conversation you had with the man himself. So I'm really looking forward to talking about that. But funny thing about socks. So when I was younger, my grandma, being the European that she is, and a lot of Balkan people, from Sydney would agree with you. But a lot of our bubbers, grandmas used to tell us, if you don't wear socks, you're going to get sick. So for me now, I wish I had these socks when I was younger because my grandma would be like, oh, you're wearing a socks. Good boy. So why socks? I think I read on your packages, and we'll show some later that I've got here. But on your packages, it says football shirts should not be just worn in a way, but on the feet. Is that right? Or can you reference your quote that you have?
Yeah, so the quote is football kits shouldn't be just for the pitch. Take them with you every step of the way.
Beautiful. Love that. Every step of the way. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, a bit of marketing come through there. But yeah, so basically, I love football. I love football kits, just like everyone else watching this does. And sometimes there's not the right context or the right environment to sort of wear the kits or show that you're a fan or that you love football and the designs. So
Yep.
basically, the concept kind of came from, if I can't wear a kit to this, maybe I can show my support for football or my team by wearing the socks. Like if I'm in a business suit, but then bang, I have the whole socks underneath or whatever. So
I would love to wear a suit with the socks. I'm just thinking about which ones I would wear. Honestly, there's so many different variations that you have. I love every single one you have made. But just tell us, I know football stories, everyone's got their little, I used to watch football with mum or dad or grandpa, grandma. But what got you into football? Being a boy and based in Sydney, I know Sydney being such a rugby dominated area compared to me in Melbourne being dominated by AFL. What made you fall in love with soccer, football?
so basically, I played rugby league for 10 years,
Of
growing up as a
course.
kid. Yeah, of course, being in Sydney, and was never too into it per se. And my cousin was a mad Arsenal fan, huge into it. And I had a really bad injury when I was 15, and I sort of thought, nah, no more. Like I'm done with rugby league. And the boys were like, oh, come try football. And literally first game, fell in love with it, man. It's smart,
Wow.
like you're thinking all the time, and it's just every game is different. There's no just sort of brainless play. And I love that. I love that aspect of it. And then yeah, all of it just came from there. So
Oh, look, no disrespect to any other sport, but I think football is like a game of chess. There's always
yeah.
one step forward, two steps backwards type of approach. Look, and again, AFL rugby has all that, but the best thing about football, and this is one thing that we all love about it, is there's more to a culture reference to it. And we see that growing in many ways now with the modern time of internet and just publications doing more pieces about what was football and what is football. And I have to say, Final Third has become a part of that culture. So good work on putting your foot in the market. I didn't plan that reference, but yeah. Honestly, look, everyone's got their football story, so that was a good touch on your end. But I just realized you don't have an Arsenal sock, do you?
No, I got two.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe I'm
Uh,
just so in love with these ones.
I don't have the socks here, but basically they're based on these two.
Mate, that's why I said you don't have Arsenal socks, because I know you had those two kits in the background, so I wanted you to show them off. So why Arsenal? Was that something that you always fell in love with? And look, to be honest, again, like you said, Drake Ramberg did have a big part in Arsenal's history when it comes to culture. And the socks that you did design on those two are the most iconic designs. Is there something that, when it comes to design and football, do you think that's one thing that we all love about football, is that there's more to than just the game?
Oh, huge. Yeah. Even it's just like the releases and the culture around it. Like when Arsenal did the retro drops, like sort of last year, and you see the guys like Hector Bellerin, Ainsley Maitland-Niles wearing the retro gear and like the genuine retro gear and getting around like I don't know how to like sort of articulate it, but like when Righty with classic football shirts is in all the old gear, and it just holds so much value like
Yeah.
nostalgically to a lot of people in different ways, and every way is valid and interesting and cool. So yeah, just the fact that I don't know, every piece holds something to someone.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal's been doing a big part this year for them too. I would love to see them bring back some other retro pieces they have. But it's one thing about the culture side of things, and the ones you've based it on. One of my favorite is the whole city one, and I really want to find the actual jersey for that. Even though I'm a United supporter and wearing one of the best kits right now and one of my favorite kits in the background, there's so many other designs out there that we see. So when you look at the culture side of things and you see Final Third, what you're doing with football kits and just the culture side of things, how do you see everything else in the past couple of years? I know we saw the Human Race come out, and you were part of the Ultra Football launch for that one. Like, do you see a growing sort of side of things in football?
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Even over the last few years, you look at sort of from one side in terms of it growing. Like there's a lot of retro kit sellers and resellers, and the hunt sort of just going into op shops and eBay and things like Depop. Like if 3 or 4 years ago, it was easy. You'd sort of just
Yep.
roll in. Oh yeah, no worries. There's that there. Now it's competitive, man. Everyone's onto it. Things like
Mm.
that. There's so much interest in it now. You look at the guys like 3032 down your way, like the artwork, the prints, just sort of people coming out of everywhere, and really strongly in Australia, up in Brisbane, Unwanted FC, like what those guys are doing there. Sort of, yeah, 2 3 years ago when I started this, we were all starting at the same time, and now like it's just a massive scene and people popping up with so much cool different stuff. Yeah, it's really exciting to see it growing, not just here but all over as well.
Yeah, it's a good call. I think when I started doing football photography, which was like 2016, 2015, no, 2015, like proper with Melbourne City. And then before that, when I started my Instagram for all that football photog, I noticed a growing sort of appreciation for the design and more so like the social media life of football. And I see it growing. I think we're at a good point now in 2021 where the football, the culture, the design scene is at a healthy point of view. And I just hope there's not an overload, but it is people like yourself that have brought that fresh approach where we see so many people do the same thing, like you said, when they're doing stores or reselling. But the thing I do love about yours is you've given a new life to football design. I think when it comes to socks, it's just something that we don't think about in a general because it's just a normal part of our life, like underwear. But yeah, like how did it all start for you? Did you fall in love with a certain design and then approach to make something, or were you just in a needed pair of socks and you said, "Hey, I'm going to make some"?
Well, kind of more towards the latter. I've always been one to wear like the crew cut sort
Hmm.
of stocks. Just sort of came from like the X Games and skating, and just watching all those guys like always having the crew cut socks. Loved them, man. Always wore them. Yeah. So then I basically 3 years ago like fractured my ankle really badly. Went to
Oh,
my physio and just sort of like in the physio sessions, we're just chatting as you do. And yeah, just came up in the conversation like, oh, I want to do more, I want to learn more, and we both love football, and we started chatting, and somehow we got onto socks. And he was like, oh, why don't you do it? Like, why don't you just make some pairs and make a website, Instagram, and go from there? And so yeah, every time I went back to the physio, basically was just like mentor me through. He's like, okay, where are you at now? Where are you at with this?
that's cool.
And yeah, it was insane, man. So started with 4 pairs right before the 2018 World Cup. So we had the Arsenal 95 96, Japan, Colombia, and Argentina 2018
Classics.
kits. And then, yeah, did the World Cup, got 2 more pairs in, and then, yeah, just sort of went nuts from there. 3 years later, 36 styles, and some new ones coming soon, hopefully. So,
Oh, a bit of a tease there. It's funny you say that you went to your physio, and so at one point he's massaging your glutes, and at the same time he's actually giving you information into your membrane.
yeah.
So 36, you said that, and ever growing. Look, I can't believe how many designs you have, put forward to that area of the body, and is there future plans for the final third to explore, or is this something that for you now it's open doors to think more? Because I think we all see brands go from one point and then they grow. We saw Apple do that and they ended up being everywhere, to the future now bringing cars. I'm not saying final third's going to bring cars, but I'm saying, is there something else in football culture and design that you love, that you'd love to make? That t-shirt you're wearing, I honestly see future designs like that.
Yeah, man, 100%. So I guess outside of the socks, another thing that I really love about football design is the little aspects, the little details, and sort of the little things, and sort of bringing football forward in like a minimalist way to a degree. So I would really like to move forward in sort of clothing in that aspect. So pieces that like don't scream football, but if you look at them and you know football, you'd be like, oh, that's sick. Like I know that, like that's what that means, but it looks normal in any context. So yeah, really sort of help the culture like grow, and people can wear the pieces confidently wherever. So I've got some cool stuff sort of sitting on the desktop that I need to put into action.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So if we're speaking about the little things, and this is something we mentioned pre-recording of this episode, what's something small in a football jersey, or something you've seen that you dislike and you wish was changed, or what's something small that you really like about a kit that you've seen?
Oh, let's get one. So this was the first pair that I designed, but for me, the little thing is the tag on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Like it seems so simple to put a tag on your clothes, but just the Nike Premier branding, the fact that it's stitched on the front, and it just looks super clean. Yeah, very similar. Just little things like that, and also having, I probably can't see it, but the logo.
Oh yeah, throughout the jersey
itself.
Yeah, this one has it too, BVB.
Yeah, just little things like that, like stuff that when you're designing, like you see some of the new kits now that are either just from the cookie cutter template from Adidas or Nike, and it's basically emblem, symbol, kit, and that's about it.
We see that a lot.
Yeah, whereas I think when Nike with the Liverpool last year, they sort of flipped the script a bit and were like, you know what, we are going to hand design our kits, and it was really refreshing to see that they weren't just going to mince something they've already done. So yeah, I think just the little details they put in, like that extra step of design to make it different. It's awesome.
Have you seen the new PSG kit? The fourth one, the colorful?
I have. I saw it today with the printing on the back. I thought that was a cool touch, but there's some things about it, and I think you might jump on that.
Yeah, it's like color. I think it's like, it's the small things that really do for me. I think I really like, as much as everyone dislikes Red Bull as a brand and as the football clubs they own, but the Leipzig top, the blue sort of mixture colored one, it represents Japanese painting that I really like. But when you look closer to the detail of the shirt, there's no real detail to it. It's just flat. And I think that's where I think a lot of us, like me and yourself, where we look at stuff, we try to go deeper into the thought. And I think that's why Drake Ramberg is so loved, because he thought about more than just what was in the scene. When he was designing, I think Umbro was doing really well in the football scene. And I think they had an opportunity with Nike to do something. And now, almost, how is it? It's more than 20 years, like 30 years now since we saw his reign on his time at Nike. Would you say that he's the godfather of football designs? But there's a lot of unsung heroes out there. And of course, please mention them.
Yeah. So I'm totally going to butcher the name and I can't forget it. But I think it's like Ina. I can't say it. It starts with R, her last name. And she basically designed the Germany 1990 kit, the one that had the pair after with the stripes coming across and down. The 1990. And I think that sort of put what football design could be on the map. Like there's a lot of people out there as well. But yeah, what Drake Ramberg has done to still be so loved and talked about and have his shirts and designs pop up in different forms today in 2021 from when he designed them in 94, 96, 92, etc. is like a testament to like the work that he did, the designs that he thought of, and how like timeless and nostalgic they still are. So yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people that I've missed in terms of saying that, but yeah, I'd probably say those two really kicked it off.
There's a lot of designers out there we'll never hear of that, they just didn't live the sort of lifestyle that Drake Rambo did because, everyone knows him of the successful teams that he's worked upon. But there's a lot of designs out there that I'd love to know who designed it. Like when it comes to the modern one, there's so many behind the scenes teams. So like that's one thing I do love about the final third is that we know who you are and there's a face value behind it. Honestly, how's your time been in the football community? Have you enjoyed it? I know from a point of view, you are now officially stocked at Classic Football Shirts. And I remember when I went over to London, I saw, this is pre-COVID, everyone. I saw your packaging and just the stuff online. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And when I found out you're Aussie, I was like, wow, that is awesome.
Yeah, I've loved it, man. It's not a hassle for me to do designs and think about sending orders and doing that stuff. I love it. Like it's football full time, and there's nothing like you can't love about that. And the fact that like the thing I remind myself of is every day is there are no rules. Like you can work on something that you love. Like no one can tell you otherwise. And if you keep working hard and you're consistent and it's like good quality and you enjoy it, then someone else will see it and think, oh, that's good quality and I like that. Like I want to do something with that. And when the Classic Football Shirt guys reached out, like that was mind blowing for me. It was insane to think that like a dude from Sydney who used to play rugby league can like be in a shop in London and Manchester with a product. So yeah, it's
That's
insane.
amazing.
I love it. Yeah.
I'm looking at Instagram now, and you've had some iconic heroes from South Korea, etc., hold your items. Is there someone that you'd love to get your designs in their hands?
I would love for Maitland Niles or Bellerin to just sort of slip
Ooh.
a pair on in a shoot or something. That would be pretty insane. But I think the Grail pair was if I saw Ian Wright in the Bruised Banana pair, I
Ooh.
think I'd sell everything, I'd retire then and there.
Should
That's
should
it.
should we just
Done.
should we say it officially right now, and I'll cut it from here, and I'll say as of right now, today's mission is to get Dane from the final third to have Ian Wright or Hector Bellerin wear a pair of his sock designs. That's going to be our mission for 2021. Okay, we're
That's
going to
it.
look back. We're going to look back at today, which is it's Valentine's Day, so
Yeah.
probably shouldn't be spending too long in this episode because my wife's be waiting for me. But on Valentine's Day 2021, we've officially set the goal between us two and the world listening to this that by the end of the year, one of Ian Wright or Hector Bellerin will be wearing your socks. Okay,
Fantastic. I'm all
done.
for it. Let's do it.
Looking at your work, honestly, like there's so many beautiful kits designs out there. What's one pair that, and sorry if it's one of your upcoming designs, but like, is there a new design from today's era that you like, so the last 5 years that you haven't designed to a kit that you love? And I've seen some kits that you've shared on your stories and your Instagram. Is there one kit that you really like that you'd like to
Yeah.
redesign?
Yeah. Or in sock form.
Yes.
Yep. So this one, I'm still working on a way to do it. But so basically, I know it's a template, but when it first came out, the France 2018
Oh yeah.
kit. So on the back, the detail is basically the
Oh yeah.
stripes with this coming down. And it's really hard to get such neat little detail of all the lines in the cotton. But if I can pull this pair off, I'm pretty confident it will be the best looking pair ever to have the three stripes running down from the Achilles all the way. And this sort of have the detail like coming down around the ankle with some really clean details on the front and the middle. I'm still working. I tried to do it in the first drop ever that I did, and it's not happening.
It's
But
just hard.
I refuse to give it up. So yeah.
I'm just looking at your products here. I actually just bought one of my Grail shirts. It's the Inter Milan 2010, 2011. So I can't wait to wear these bad boys alongside them. So amazing work on that one.
Thank you.
But I'm just looking at your things. There's actually one kit, I'm not going to say it, that you haven't designed that I really, really want to wear with the socks. Do you have that on your store or is it sold out?
Which one's the
Oh, I'm not going to say just in case you have this coming up. I'm not going to say it. That's
menu
it.
92?
Oh, No, it's not on the store. Ooh, yeah, 92.
Yeah. So basically, I don't have that coming out. I'll say that up front soon. Like, but a lot of people have reached out and said, "Can you do it or not?" The challenge with some of these kits and like the Holland 88 is the gradient, and
Hmm.
trying to work that gradient into
In a
cotton
so yeah.
doesn't work. So I will say I am trying to work around that, but I will never sacrifice the quality of the socks
Of
just to
course.
try and make something. So for me,
Quality
it's
always
quality first,
first.
and if it doesn't, and if it's not gonna be good enough, then I'll try not to do it. So, but I
Of
will try
course.
and work on a way.
No, beautiful. And now something that I've been conscious about, and the boys that I'm wanted have helped me is I am trying my best to be a bit more conscious about waste and push my life to more zero waste. But when it comes to materials, I am really proud, and I saw that you've gone over to what do you call it, zero waste packaging. So can you explain that packaging that you've got to the listeners?
Yeah, so basically, the pair you're holding right now is wrapped in plastic,
Hmm.
and from every order moving forward, we've actually phased this out completely. So now when I receive the socks, they just come in the box. There's no individual plastic wrapping of the pairs. So I'm super stoked about that. So that instantly cuts down a massive amount of plastic use. I'm aware that I'm creating a new product. So in order to sort of try and balance that out, the zero waste packaging is basically everything about it. The bag it comes in a little inner bag, and the printing label with your address and details on the front, all of it is 100% compostable. So basically, when you place an order, you're creating no extra waste. So it's like good for you to know that, but for me myself, like I'm already creating something. So the last thing I want to do is create more and contribute more to landfill. So the fact that like the packaging is 100% compostable and it's zero waste, like I'm so stoked that I can say that and actually mean it. So I
Yeah,
think it's about
perfect.
200 days and the packaging is gone. So yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. And look, it's something we all think about. It's not like, I wish they taught us that more about that at school, but a lot of the materials that you use and like, you got cotton, elastic, spandex, and nylon, it's crazy to think like thousands, what I'm talking about, 20, 30 years ago, like a lot of the ethical thinking behind that wasn't around, but now we're getting to that point. And we see a lot of new materials out there at the moment, like hemp and stuff used for, items, clothing. Is there something that you would, attest in the future or trial to add towards your socks?
Yeah, 100%. So none of it's like official or in play at the moment. But there are probably two major things that I'm working on. So I'm looking at using more recycled materials, so like
Mhm.
recycled forms of cotton. And I will sort of look at other alternatives that are either recyclable or reusable, basically to just cut down on creating new things. To keep it going. And the second one is there is an awesome brand based here called Apparel. And basically, long story short, they get you to send in clothes that you don't want anymore. They prevent it going to landfill and they recycle it. So they started that whole process with socks. So I'm trying to work with them on basically having people send socks to me that they're old or don't want anymore, and then we'll recycle them and not let them go to landfill. So I'm working on implementing that in the brand itself.
Perfect. I think that's one thing about your art forms and everything you've been posting on social media. I love about it. You are well aware of, best ways to help, us to reduce that. And just looking for your social media, mate, you've done so much for the football scene, and being Aussie, you've helped us a lot connect to the rest of the world. How is it being based in Australia and supplying football culture to the world? Has it been like a small sort of realization that the internet has made us closer than we thought to the world?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the fact that sort of like one guy from Australia can do this stuff within football. So yeah, you look back like 20 years ago or whatever, or even 10 years ago, like my dad would be like, oh, round ball, like football, whatever. And like the fact that there's people in like UK, Europe, like Italy, whatever, that are just like, oh, this is awesome, like so cool. And it's just nuts to think that the internet can sort of they put this all out there. Like I have like an order from like Lebanon and Israel before.
Wow.
It's insane to think that, like just sort of like I'm in my room right now. This is my office, and football from here is now going across the world.
Yep.
It's crazy.
When I wear your socks, I have to make sure either I'm wearing the same kit. I can't have all the kits the socks are designed on, or I have to wear the same colorway on
Yeah.
my shoes. But I'm looking at a photo here, and it's kind of giving me this weird feeling. I'm like, that's not right. But someone's wearing Air Jordans and the Germany the socks, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's a red, black, and white, but the yellow. But I'm like, oh my god, that's Adidas and Nike. Like,
Yeah.
is there something you've seen someone post or send you a photo, and you're like, no, that's not right. You're not meant to wear the Nigeria socks with like Italian colored shoes. You get me? Is there something that you've seen that's almost like death to you?
Yeah, man. It's actually one of my best friends who was in like the first photo shoot I did. We play five-a-side together,
Cool.
and he wears the socks as like football socks. Like he pulls them up over his calf and like has the shin pad in,
How does he
and
stretch them up that high?
oh man, he just reefs them, eh? Like it kills me because they're like I've designed them like crew cut under the calf for style, and he just pulls them up over the calf and plays football in them, and it's just so stretched out, and I can't do it, man. Like it kills me every time.
Here's a question for you. Would you ever make them uh, with a bit of grip on the bottom so you can wear them for running, like the grip socks?
I have thought about that, and I'm looking into
Oh, here we go. I'm getting some juicy content. You heard it here first,
it.
everyone. Honestly, there's so much we can talk about. Is there anything specific you'd like to mention about football culture or just your mission in football? And don't
Yeah,
worry,
so
you
sort
don't have to be
of.
forced to say something.
No, it's all good, man. I could speak all day about it, pretty much. But yeah, so I think sort of this last like month or two, I've put a lot of thinking into sort of where I want to go with this and what I want to do. At first, I just kind of was doing it to learn and just cause, and now that it's kind of like moving, I'm like, oh shit, I got to like keep it moving.
Yep.
So yeah, I think if I can help football grow in like a subtle way that brings football into more people's life, then I'm stoked. Rather than sort of like making people think they need to walk around with the bruised banana on everywhere they go, like
Hmm.
if they could wear just like a t-shirt that has like three little logos that doesn't look out of place, but other people walking past would be like, oh, that's so cool, that's football. Then yeah, just like grow the scene in little ways and make more people comfortable to talk about it and rep it and love it. Yeah, that would be probably my goal for the brand.
That's perfect, man. Honestly, when it comes to the small details, it's crazy how much little bit of dedication can change the way people see. So even sometimes when you may not feel like you've done a lot for others to get inspired by football, I think you've done a really good job for the football scene in Australia and the world by supplying these socks. And to have such a good sort of reasonable approach to football and a new way of seeing football, I think you've given a lot of us insight into seeing the world and the world game in a different point of view. So amazing work on that point of view. I'm just scrolling down your feed while we just chat, and I see that you've got an appreciation for a lot of training wear and apparel from the early days of football. Is there something that you really love about some certain kits, or is there a holy grail in your forever to get kit?
Yeah, I think the fact that like the kit reselling is super popular, which is awesome. But I feel like a lot of people focus on the kits and stuff, and there's so much cool training wear out there that kind of flies under the radar. So I think like yeah, I did that little drop the other day of 10 sort of really neat pieces. And yeah, I think like there's so many things, like even this shirt. I sort of, yeah, as we mentioned earlier, I kind of messaged Drake Ramberg about it, just trying to get some more info. And was like, oh, hey, like full expecting nothing, like it's Drake Ramberg, whatever. I was like, hey, like I just want to like get a bit more info about this. Like, was it part of a collection? Like, were there any other teams that you did this for? And like nicest guy ever, like replied quickly and was like, hey, like I did this for like Dortmund, Arsenal, and PSG. And yeah, just sort of went on like a wild goose chase to find these pieces. And yeah, there's two PSG ones. There's one exactly like this with the
Mhm.
PSG logo and PSG underneath that I have never seen. And there's another one with a PSG on the shoulders, which were both insane. And I think, yeah, there's just like those little grail pieces would probably be like those two shirts. yeah, just like those training pieces you don't see.
So again, we won't hold this too long, but I have an appreciation of kits that never get seen by the everyday eye because everyone collects their top fives in the world. But for me, I got this first Converse football jersey, and it's just these weird designs that never get seen by the naked eye. Now,
Yeah.
this is what I want to show you. Have you seen this? Where is it? So my friend got me this kit, and I just posted it on my Instagram today. And everyone's probably seen this, but like, have you ever seen this design?
It's wicked, hey. Like Umbro back then, man, were on something else. It's incredible. Like just so bold. I haven't seen it like in play before. It's amazing.
And the kit that I'm wearing today, the reason why I wore it, because I saw you posted about it a couple of months ago when David Beckham leaked it. But do you think there's going to be designs coming out next 5 years? So let's just say 2026. Do you think there's going to be something that you're going to be like, I need to make a sock about that?
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. Like I think the awesome thing is you think teams have home, away, and third, let's say from 1990 to date, and every year sort of manufacturers are switching on, like kind of from a business point of view, and maybe it's positive, maybe it's negative, but they're like every year they make new kits now. So I think the culture that's growing, the fact that teams are changing kits more regularly, sort of mash these two together, and there'll be up and coming designers and the future Drake Rambergs that'll be making kits. And yeah, for sure there'll be kits there where like the Nigeria 2018 World Cup or even the 2020 where it just sort of like changes the game, blows up, and everyone loses their mind. So for sure there'll be more of those to come, and I think I'll definitely be making more socks if a few of those come by.
It's funny, actually, we'll finish off with another sock topic. One thing that gets really, really undervalued when a kit comes out, or even just like, a normal football kit, you got the jersey, you got the shorts. No one really appreciates the socks, like in a sense of like game day wear. And do you think that clubs should sell the socks a lot more in a sense, like when you see it? Because I don't know, couple of months ago during the first lockdown in Melbourne, it sounds like it was years ago. But the wifey got me a pair of Borussia Dortmund 1996 socks, and it's the fluoro and black. But they'll go up to my quads, like they're that like long. Is there a game day sock that you've seen a team wear and you're like, oh my God, there's a lot of detail to that, Have you
Yeah.
seen that?
The 2018 World Cup, if you look at the Matildas kit, the
Mm,
Matildas
mm.
sock itself is designed similarly to the kit, but it's not like a copy paste pattern. They've actually designed like
Oh,
the
good
sock
detail.
itself. Yeah. And I think the France 2018 team for the home also had a similar concept where the
The
dots
dot
were on the
one?
socks.
Ah, I
Yeah,
didn't know
so
that.
those two pairs, the Matilda's women's and the France women's home, I think at 2019 maybe. Yeah, those two where Nike really paid specific attention to just not have a yellow sock with a Nike tick on it or whatever. They've actually gone, let's design like head to toe, which is
Oh,
really cool.
cool. Here I'm thinking about like other socks, and you just made me realize that the Matildas one did have that. So good work. Actually, I love the small details, like we said before. Okay, mate. Well, look, there's a lot we can talk about. Football is a big game. Is there any shout outs you'd like to do? Anything you'd like to say thank you to?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously yourself having me on here, I appreciate that massively. And just sort of, yeah, keeping in touch with everything. But yeah, the guys like, just sort of the guys in Aussie scene, just sort of keeping us inspired. So like guys like 3032 FC, Unwanted, Local FC, there's guys out there who are just putting stuff out every day and messaging behind the scenes and just sort of hyping each other up. So yeah, just too many to mention, but yeah.
Of course. The community is all about teamwork. And I do agree, like being from Australia, we should all be working together. And look, don't stress about the whole me reaching out to you. If anything, like I'm more of let's just say in shock and also in stardom, like that I actually got to speak to you, mate. Like the fact that I still have a lot of these in their packets is a testament that I'm too scared to open them because I don't want to wear them because they're so beautiful and I want to keep them on the wall. But don't worry, I've worn the shit out of the Germany and the US one. So honestly, thank you so much for being not only a leader in the football community, but being an amazing, person and human in many ways because you've helped us, see the world. But thank you. And thank you so much for your time, mate.
Awesome. No worries, man. Thank you very much.
Thanks, bud.